Good.
Any echoing or weirdness?
No, I think you sound great.
Cool. Well, I got you on recording just so you know, and so we'll see how this goes. If we have any glitches, we can always try to navigate through that. But definitely nice to meet you. I really appreciate you taking time to sit down and chat, and really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. I guess just to get things going off, a little bit of your backstory of what's going on with this project, how you got involved, with your passion for the Wizard of Oz, and then what led you to the Kickstarter campaign.
Well, my sister's always been a huge admirer of Oz, the movie and the book, and having the little Oz creatures and characters around. I think that was part of the background of things. One day I was with my wife. We were going out to dinner. We hadn't seen each other much during the week. We both have very busy schedules. And I looked lovingly into her eyes and I said, "So, Toto, how's Dorothy?" And from there, the idea just kind of came to me, because at that time I had been writing short children's stories. Well, what about a Wizard of Oz from Toto's point of view? I've never heard of a book or a story. And after a little bit of research, that turned out to be the case.
Very cool. And when was that? How long ago was that?
I started in 2014, and at that time I belonged to a critique group, and everybody would write a chapter or a few pages of whatever they were working on, and they'd bring it to the group, and they'd beat the devil out of it, and sooner or later I got to the point that I finally got it done.
Excellent. Okay, and so that's a good lead up. What exactly is this Kickstarter project? How would you define it? How would you summarize it?
It is a tribute to L. Frank Baum. It's to commemorate or celebrate the 120th anniversary of his original book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
And so far it is 2 manuscripts, complete novels, out of 3, because it's going to be a trilogy. And after I wrote the first 2 and was considering the third, I felt that the Kickstarter patrons would enjoy participating. I've noticed that seems to be something that some of the other authors have offered. And there's so many people out there that have such a passion for Wizard of Oz. I thought that, wow, some of them probably have some great ideas, and it would be fun with a number of people putting together the final book.
Very good. And so a little bit about the actual Kickstarter campaign. What is your goal as far as funds raised?
I was shooting for $36,400.
Okay. And what are the rewards for those that back the Kickstarter campaign? What are the motivations?
Well, during the project, I engaged a couple of 3 illustrators, actually, and I engaged a cartographer. I worked with the cartographer at first, and we put together a very detailed, high-resolution map of the Western Oz, which is where much of the story takes place. Mm-hmm. So you can blow it up, and it's quite detailed. And also, over the last 2 years or 3 years, working with 3 illustrators, I put together 24 original illustrations, and they're good, high quality. So the rewards are as follows. There will be ebooks for Toto's Tale, which is the first book, and ebook for Trail of Tears, which is the second book, limited edition original illustrations signed by the authors,
okay,
and the cartographer. And then finally, there will be 3 printed sets of books. 1 will be a paperback, and 2 will be limited edition hardbacks.
Okay, very good. All right, and so why did you choose Kickstarter? Just out of curiosity. There's a lot of different platforms out there. the two big ones are Indiegogo, Kickstarter. What drew you to Kickstarter?
Honestly, I was so engrossed in setting it up that by the time I'd put a lot of time and energy into it, I came to realize that there were other ones.
Gotcha.
So I had committed so much time to Kickstarter that I thought, well, I'll just stay there. And they never deleted it, even though I'd been working on it for 3 or 4 years. So I figured, well, that's worth something.
Yeah, definitely. Very good. What was the moment for you that you took this? I know you mentioned 2014 and you told a little bit of your backstory, but what was the moment where you were flirting with the idea, the concept, and you made this a reality?
Once I really got into writing the story, it just kept coming and coming and coming.
Okay.
And the critique group that I belong to enjoyed it so much, and they look forward to each new chapter. It was probably sometime in 2000, toward the end of 2014, when I pretty much finished the novel, and before I had my first hard edit, so to speak.
Okay. And for you, what type of, Kickstarter is typically, well, really crowdfunding in general is geared towards, the tech typically, and now it's starting to delve into a lot more of the creative. With that being considered, what type of reader are you, or really backer, someone that can support you in this? What type of person is that? What are you targeting? Who are you targeting? And who is your best audience for supporting you in this campaign?
I believe that there are so many, Oz is so popular. Mm-hmm. It's popular in everything. It comes out at Christmas. It's in Pinterest. There's movie after movie. There's still series being made, and there's series on the drawing board on TV. I just felt that anybody that had an attraction to Oz that was a reader would find this unique approach to be a backer. Now, the reason I made these limited editions, as far as the illustrations and some of the novels, is because sooner or later, whether it's with Kickstarter or without, this book is going to take off. And anybody that has a signed limited edition is going to have a wise return on their investment.
Yep. And those are very popular, especially the limited edition models for books and records and all of that right now. So definitely understand that. What do you think it is about, especially you being in the whole world of Wizard of Oz, what is it that is so fascinating about Baum's stories and just the whole concept, the movie? What is it that really makes the Wizard of Oz in general fascinating?
I'll be damned if I know. I mean, the thing of it is it's so much more popular than Star Wars. It's as popular as Harry Potter. It's even more popular than that. These are two recent films that have stood the test of time for maybe 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 20 years. I can't remember. Getting old. But Baum's been around since the year 1900. But I have no idea what the attraction is, but I tell you what, it doesn't diminish in time. It increases. It's on tattoos. It just keeps going.
All right, very good. And what are your thoughts on the most recent? Have you watched the most recent adaptations or continuing stories of the Wizard of Oz? Have any thoughts on this?
I do. I tried watching the series. I couldn't really get into it. I watched the last movie from MGM. I thought it was great. Mm-hmm. This is a passion with me, but it's also a part-time passion. Much of my time is spent running a management company.
Gotcha.
So I don't have a lot of free time, and I don't watch much TV, and I don't watch many movies. So
good to know. All right, so let's walk us through this. If your campaign is successful and you raise all the funds, what is the step-by-step after that? The reason I ask this is the riskiness of Kickstarter is the whole pre-investment type of mentality of pre-ordering before it's even put together. Maybe talk a little bit about, are the books, are they fully done? Are they completed? Are they ready to go? Where are they in the timeline of finishing the actual books themselves? But then what does that look like once the money's given to make sure everyone understands when they give, this is what's going to be done with these funds?
As soon as my book is, my books are funded enough, I would start the final edit on the last book. The first book is with a publisher for a digital release. I've invested a lot of my own personal money over the last couple of years in the map and in the writing and in some edits. There really is no risk to the investor other than trying to get these on time. My goal is to get everybody's reward to them before Christmas. So basically, the next thing is the last book needs a final edit. That wouldn't take too much time. Then both books can be translated into Spanish, then digital copies presented from Spanish, and then in the meantime, the hard copies are ready to go to a printer, and the maps are going to be delivered by email, or they're very high resolution documents, so there's going to have to be some sort of a download system there. But yeah, it's kind of like everything's ready to go. It's just waiting on the money, and there really is no risk because I don't have to print more books than what I need. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to print illustrations unless people order them.
Right.
So.
All right, very good. I think those are pretty much all the questions I have as far as in regards to the actual Kickstarter campaign itself. Do you know of any interesting trivia, or you always hear weird myths about the original Wizard of Oz film, like things in the background? In your journeys of studying and writing, have you uncovered any interesting thoughts about the author or the movie or the books themselves?
Well, there's the rumor of whether a munchkin hung himself and was hanging in the background of one of the films.
Right.
That's kind of an amusing thing. But to me, one of the most amusing things on YouTube is, and it's also on my website, wizardwasodd.com, is the very first Wizard of Oz movie. It is the silliest thing in the world, and it lasts about 11 minutes, and it's not a talkie. So you've got a bunch of people running around in foolish outfits, and it's just hysterical.
Yeah, I clicked on that link. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks, just the thumbnail of it looks really, really almost over the top. So I'm interested to watch that. I'll definitely check that out.
You know, the most interesting thing, too, is the difference 120 years has made in the technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you look at Avatar and what we've got nowadays and back then, I mean, it's just mind-blowing where we've come.
Yeah, it is crazy. And that first film was right at the turn of the century, right?
Yeah, that first film was, it looks like it was even a homemade film, but nobody had that technology. It was right at the turn of the century. It was either 1896, 1900, somewhere around in there.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting in general, too, because, you know, in my mind, the movies really started happening like the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. But that was a full 20 years before that genre even started. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. And so if viewers want to see that film, it's on YouTube and on your website, wizardwasodd.com, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I think those are all the questions I have for you, Bob. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, maybe just a brief summary. You know, back then when Baum wrote his original book, mm-hmm. I mean, people were still taking trains, and it was taking wagon trains, and the technology was so backward. Phones had just come around the corner, and so this book has brought everything into the 20th century, so to speak. It's in keeping with our times. It's not anything that's 120 years old. It's for anybody that would enjoy Harry Potter or similar type fantasy fairy tale films. So,
very good. Well, those are good things to be associated with. So I'm very excited about your project. Very nice to meet you. And
absolutely, Matt. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.